Good morning, and we would like to welcome you to the first Business Diversity Virtual Outreach event. We've had many outreach events, but this is the first one that we have done virtually, so it's a little different, I believe, for all of us, but we're going to do our best to ensure that we are able to take advantage of this time, recalibrate what the opportunities are at the IAA amidst COVID and the pandemic, as well as talk about opportunities across the organization. Again, you'll probably hear to us allude a lot to this is virtual and not live, so it's very difficult to speak to an audience that you can't see. But we can see we have over 78 individuals in attendance at this time, and we're just happy to have everyone here. The purpose of the event today is, again, to focus on outreach. Typically, we do a construction and a professional services event each year, but we thought this year we would do something a little bit different so that we can kind of recalibrate on what the overall opportunities as we've been impacted by the pandemic. So this will be a little bit different than what you're accustomed to seeing. We're not going to do the deep dive into the processes and navigation, but we will provide you with contact information and access to individuals who can help guide you through that. So if we can put the next slide. So first thing we want to do is walk you through the agenda. I'm Holly Harrington, Senior Director of Supplier Diversity and Diversity Officer for the airport. We're going to go through introductions of leadership, both of our board as well as the IAA staff. We also are going to talk about the current state of capital projects and share additional information with you across our enterprise. We have some guest speakers. We've got the City of Indianapolis is going to share some of their upcoming events. We also have a new partner in the Indiana Pacers, and they're going to share information about the Bankers Life Field expansion. We'll then go back to the IAA, talk about our concession opportunities. We're going to highlight sustainability and environment. Our procurement leader is here and will share about other opportunities within the IAA. And then we'll focus on our capital program and close sharing a little bit about supplier diversity. So we have a very exciting day for you. We're going to try to be as concise as possible. We know a lot of people are not only attending these type of meetings virtually, but your daily meetings. So we want to make sure we don't get that deer in headlights effect. So we're going to do everything we can to keep this exciting for you. And with that, I would like to introduce our Senior Director of Planning and Development, Jared Kloss, who's going to talk to you about the current state of capital projects, as well as introduce our leadership.
Good morning, and thank you, Holly. Next slide, please. Next. There we go. Want to take just a moment both to virtually introduce our senior leadership team at the airport, as well as express my gratitude for the partnership between my team and all of the other teams at the airport. Folks hear me quite frequently refer to the successes at the airport as a family success, because that's how we leverage the public value in what we do, is by being united and foundationally purposeful in what we do. So while normally we would go through and each one of the senior directors would stand up and say a few words, we're going to do that a little bit differently. So at least this way you have some exposure to those in leadership. At this time, I would certainly like to introduce Mario Rodriguez, our Executive Director, to say a few opening remarks for this event.
No, thank you, Jared. Thank you. Hey, and welcome everybody. It's kind of unusual to do it in a virtual way, and it's a different delivery. But believe me, that our commitment is still the same and even stronger to diversity. It really reflects our ability to support and reflect our community. And for us, it's a moral imperative. So it is of the utmost importance what Holly and her team and Jared's team are doing is of utmost importance to us. And Holly, over the years, and her team have been able to move the needle on diversity. I believe right now we're at 36%, if I'm not mistaken, Holly, and that's a big number. And I have especially high hopes for Holly to make that number a rounded figure in the next few months, hopefully. So we'll leave it at that. And it's going to be possible without the leadership of our board and without the guidance of our board. And I'd like to turn it over to our board president to say a couple of words, Barbara Glass. Barbara, are you on?
I am on. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Indianapolis Airport Authority's Business Diversity Virtual event. And I just want to make sure you all know and are aware of the commitment of the board and all the staff at the IAA to diversity. And our goal is for our staff and business partnerships to be as diverse as the regional area that we serve. First of all, I'd just like to note that Mayor Hogsett has 6 appointees to the airport board. And of those 6, 2 are African Americans and 3 are women. And I am the first female president of the board of the IAA. So you know that the diversity starts at the top. I hope you find this event to be informational, informative, helpful. And the Indianapolis Airport Authority values diversity and aims to provide meaningful opportunities to all businesses in our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Glass. At this moment, I'll turn it over to our board member, Mayman Power, who's the secretary of the board. Mayman?
Good morning, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Perfectly.
Sorry. Our purpose at the airport is to create public value for all of the Indianapolis area. And we take that responsibility seriously. And we are your airport. So no matter how good the numbers get, I am pleased that, as Barb and Mario mentioned, all the way at the top, we are still concerned about trying to look and see what we can do better. We're always trying to be better. So I just appreciate the board's effort, Barbara Glass's effort in pushing for us to be better, and especially the staff for all the work they do to try to improve our numbers no matter how good they get. So to everyone, please stay connected with us. I know our revenue and spending is down, but we will come back, and we are resilient. So thank you.
Thank you, President Glass. Thank you, Secretary Powers. At this point, I will turn it over to Jared.
Okay, next slide, please. Thank you. So without further ado, we will move forward with the rest of the program. I appreciate all the participation from our board as well as our senior team and Mario. At this time, I'd just like to run through a brief introduction of the leadership of my team. Certainly, while Holly Harrington is now Senior Director and Diversity Officer, we still recognize her because of her close connection and work with my team on the capital program. Drew Jennikin, who's my Deputy Senior Director. Kevin Forbes, our Director of Landside Development. Tony McMichael, our Interim Director of Airside Development, and Todd Cavender, our Director of Sustainability and Environment. briefly, again, we were trying to reinvent the wheel a little bit. So while we are sorry that we don't have the opportunity for staff to be present in person and interact, we did come up with a way to make you feel like you're not missing out entirely on that. We do encourage folks, prior to solicitations for work being advertised, if there are things you hear about, projects from this presentation, the door to my team is always open as long as we don't have an active solicitation on the street. So I encourage you to reach out to me, to anyone on my team, to Holly and her team as well, to facilitate that dialogue. Tracy. So there are, I think most of you know, our airport system is more than just Indianapolis International. In addition to the international facility, we have 4 general aviation airports and the downtown heliport. So there are 6 aviation facilities in our system that we are responsible for all of the operations and all of the planning and capital projects on an ongoing basis. I want to spend just a couple of minutes to recognize, as we all know, that COVID has certainly impacted the aviation industry in a very significant way. Early in the pandemic, traffic at IND as well as nationally was down approximately 95% of normal for what we experienced in 2019. Currently, it's partially rebounded. We're at about 70% of what we would call normal or anticipated passenger traffic. The industry as a whole estimates that a return to 2019 passenger levels may not happen until 2024 to 2026. Luckily, through the wisdom of our board, leadership at the airport, we had already looked at different scenarios and possible interruptions to our operation and to the aviation industry as a whole. That resulted in us going into this pandemic event with approximately 400 days of cash reserves on hand. That combined with the money provided through the CARES Act to the airport helped us chart a path forward that we feel is conservative, prudent, and will help us navigate until we get back to a more reasonable level of passenger traffic. We also, as part of that endeavor, within the first few weeks of the pandemic, we retooled the capital program numerous times as we ran sensitivity analyses. We reviewed the program to ensure that we were going to maintain safe operations and infrastructure kept in working condition until we were confident that we would return to more normal air traffic and revenues. And we completed all of those things, and we felt comfortable with the budget we put forward on the capital program. It's still a very robust budget. It's more than $600 million across a 5-year plan. And one of the things that we were able to do in retooling that budget was make a shift toward infrastructure projects that are federally funded. And so to that end, more than 50% of the capital budget that we put before the board and the airlines utilizes grant funds as opposed to airport cash. Now, of that entire budget, 75% of the capital budget is dedicated toward ensuring infrastructure is properly maintained, and everything is maintained safely for air travel going forward. So just want to take a few minutes to give you that overview, because we certainly made considerable modifications, but it also has resulted in maintaining considerable opportunity for folks, which is what we're here to talk about today. So, next slide, Tracy. So with that, I'll turn it over to Ava with the City of Indianapolis.
Thank you, Jared. Good morning, everyone. At the start of 2020, the Office of Minority and Women Business Development released the results of a year-long disparity study of city contracts. This study, which had been put off for decades, covered the years 2014 through 2018. What it showed was that local government in Indianapolis in its prime and subcontracts was not utilizing the full talent and labor of Indianapolis. Today, I want to provide you with a broad overview of the results of that study. The utilization plan that is outlined here on this first slide is a roadmap that we use to ensure that qualified and certified XBEs have an equal opportunity to participate in public works projects, goods and supplies, services, and public and private partnerships that the City of Indianapolis and Marion County government do. Next slide, please. This is just a few of the program enhancements that were a result of that study. In mid-September of this year, the City County Council passed with a 20-5 vote Proposal 231, which is now known as Ordinance 37.2020. This gives us a significant amount of increased enforcement power to do the following enhancements that are outlined here. Each agency within city county government will now be required to submit inclusion plans. We will review all contracts with primes to ensure that their procurement practices are in place. We have clearly defined reporting expectations as it relates to our monthly summary reports and much more. Full details of the utilization plan can be found on our website that is here in the slide, www.indy.gov/OMWBD. Next slide, please. This slide shows some upcoming events that we are planning. We have 3 rollout plans. For those of you who are on this call this morning, or the meeting this morning, your date will be Tuesday, November 10th, 2020. We will be sending invites to key stakeholders, our certified XBEs, and prime contractors. On November 19th, in collaboration with the Indiana Subcontractors Association, we will be hosting an outreach event entitled Moving Forward. And our last event scheduled for the year is our 13th annual year-end forum, which is scheduled for Wednesday, December 9th, 2020. To register for these events, go to our Eventbrite page at the link that you see here. We look forward to working with everyone. Of course, all of our meetings will be virtual. So with that, let's go to our last slide. And this is our contact information. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out at the email identified here, omwbd@indy.gov, and then our website, www.indy.gov/omwbd. Thank you.
All right, Tracy, next slide, please. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Melody Park with Pacers Sports and Entertainment.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you for, first, I would like to thank IAA for inviting us to this important event to make sure that our project, as well as others, are getting a robust participation for the XBE program. Prior to joining with the Pacers, I was at the city, so I work with Ava often to make sure that our diversity program was robust. And these kind of events helps us for us to get the word out on projects that are not seen throughout the our construction industry as a whole, because it is a one-off project of a lifetime, you may say, or a project of every 20 years. So for those who have not been involved in our program or project, is a $360 million project that started in 2019 with a design that went from early 2019 to the end of 2019. And it is broken out into three phases of years, not construction. And at this moment, you may be hearing some noise behind me. Right now, we are underway on the first phase, which started in the late 2019 and is supposed to be substantially completed by end of this year. And then beginning of the season, we should be underway on the first two floors. So at this moment, we are looking at rehabbing the interior of the Bankers Life Fieldhouse, and then adding the amenities to the exterior by taking away the parking garage to the north of us, and then also putting in more amenities on the flat surface lot that is on the east and west of that parking lot that is just north of us between the Bankers Life Court and Maryland Street. But at this moment, I echo this project is for us to get robust participation from a diverse construction and contractor and design team. So thank you for inviting us. And I'm going to let the detail be worked out with Nate Moore.
I think Melody finished there. Thank you, Melody. This is Nate Moore with Shields Sexton. We are the construction manager as advisor for the Bankers Life Fieldhouse expansion, and wanted to describe a little bit of what we're getting ready to do for bidding, and again reiterate how important it is to us to incorporate diverse contracting practices as part of our procurement. All of our work is going to be bid in the next 3 months for phase 2 and 3. We have $150 million in packages to bid and award for phases 2 and 3 for work to be completed in 2021 and 2022. We are going to incorporate the City of Indianapolis's diversity contracting goals inside the CIB and State of Indiana public procurement rules. It's important to understand that all of the bid packages that you see on the screen here are going to be prime bid packages with prime contracts directly with the Capital Improvement Board of Managers of Marion County. So each one of these packages will be bid individually. They'll be bid in groups, large groups, reviewed and awarded in December, January, and February for work that will begin on phase 2 in early March. We have one package on the street, so to say, right now, which is the demolition package for the Maryland Street parking structure that Melody mentioned. And you can see the listing of packages there. Differences between what we're doing currently with phase 1 and what we'll have coming up with phase 2 and 3 is that all of our work on phase 1 has been interior. Phase 2 and 3 will start to change what we say is the new front door for the field house with the new plaza off of Maryland Street and a new enclosure to the north. Some exciting things will be happening in this phase 2 and 3, still keeping the feel and the what is nationally known as one of the best NBA facilities. Still keep that feel, but improve it and give more access through the pavilion. I'm going to turn over, if we can go to the next slide, please. turn it over to Deborah Oates for introduction of her role in the project.
Good morning, everyone. Hi, I'm Deborah Oates with Median Construction Group, and our role on the project is to facilitate by the role with outreach and compliance. And so we'll be coordinating with our XPE firms, those subs and primes that are interested in relationships and partnerships to maximize the goals on the Bankers Life project. And please note, these firms that we are looking for are city certified firms only. So please connect with the city if you're interested in getting certified. And so please note again, only city certified firms will be included as part of the participation on this project. So I'm doing a call out to any of the contractors, the suppliers, any of the vendors, the firms interested in working on the project. You can go to my website and you will see a contractor interest form, and you can also send me an email. We are excited about working on this project, and we look forward to connecting with you. Again, I'm Debbie Oates. You can reach out to me via email. Also, my cell is 317-339-4423. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. At this time, I'd like to introduce Dave Shaw with the airport. Dave's leading the concessions refresh project and is going to provide an update on that program for us.
Thank you, Jared. Good morning, everybody. Can you guys hear me okay? Just making sure.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Sorry about that. Just a real quick moment of thank you to Barb and Mayman as the leaders of our Terminal Optimization Committee for providing excellent guidance and leadership through the most difficult times within the airport, within the history of airport concessions. Then also would be remiss if I didn't call out Marcia and Mario for their guidance and leadership. Then, of course, Jason Pulitzer and Mandy Royston from our team, but then also the entire airport team as airport concessions reaches out and touches almost everybody within the organization. So thank you very much. As we've talked about in the past, we were in the middle of a large concessions refresh project, and that quickly came to a stall on the middle of March. We had multiple locations that were under construction. We had one location that was completely finished. That would be the Sun King location on Concourse B. And then we had a lot of locations that were about ready to start. The design phase was completed, and we were just about to, quote, break ground. March 15th, that all changed for obvious reasons. So we are slowly getting back to normal. We have a couple locations that are still under construction currently. Sun King opened last week, but due to the decrease in passenger traffic and how that affected our multiple both local and national operators, things slowed down drastically. So obviously, passenger traffic is going to drive any projects that are occurring. Passenger traffic, as you've heard, has increased over the last couple weeks, and we are watching it literally on a daily basis. So if you slide, what I'll do is I'll quickly go through and just discuss. I won't reread the dates that you see here, but I'll quickly explain the locations that we have, which a few are under construction, a few will be. A few of these are renovations, and then a few of these spots have not even gone out to bid yet. So Hot Box Pizza is a quick service restaurant, QSR, located pre-security that will replace Qdoba, and you can see the dates in which that right now, these dates are what we expect. This is almost changing on a weekly basis. So we have multiple operators in the airport that run multiple concession locations. So unfortunately, it's not just a single phone call or a single email or a single point of contact that we have to work with these folks on. And the other difficult, challenging part is the staff is changing for these operators. Just yesterday, our point of contact with an operator, we were informed that she's no longer with the company. So then we essentially have to start over. We are doing the best we can to provide as correct and accurate and updated info as possible with the dates, but please note that these dates could change. So again, Hotbox Pizza is the QSR located pre-security to replace Qdoba. Circle City Beer Garden is the 317 tap room currently, which is the bar located pre-security directly across from FAO Schwartz. Social Cantina is a Mexican street fair restaurant located in Concourse A, all the way at the end of Concourse A. That's with an operator called OHM Concessions. They're a 100% ACDBE certified firm. Just Pop In, that will be a renovation. That is a quick service, quick grab snack location, popcorn location at the Knuckle in Concourse B. McDonald's, which is a very exciting project. That's a 100% ACDBE owned and operated location. You guys know where McDonald's is. They are going to renovate that location, mostly the front counter, the front entry space located pre-security. We can't express enough appreciation for the partnership with the family that operates the location. They have stayed open through this pandemic, and their sales have dropped, but they are slowly coming back, and it's just a great partnership, and we just so greatly appreciate them to stay on, but then also to renovate the space as well. No Boundaries is like a smaller version of Dick's Sporting Goods. It's a specialty retail store located at the Knuckle of Concourse A. That location is still operating as a Starbucks today, so that will be a major project. Mass Ave Essentials is a news and convenience store, which will be located directly next to Shapiro's in Concourse B. That location is still operating today as a news and convenience store, so not a large project, but nonetheless still yet another project. En Route Spa in Concourse B is a renovation of that space. The spa industry has changed quite a bit, but then also that space has been as is for multiple years here at the airport. So we're very much looking forward to that space getting a facelift. Camden Food, we're not sure what that's going to be yet. It is still operating today. It's located in the beachfront property of the airport here in Concourse B, just to the left of Champs. With the new world of travel and passengers and how the public operates in an airport, we're not sure what Camden Food is going to be, but nonetheless, that location expires at the end of 2023. And we intend to put it out to bid along with Shapiro's, which is the next location you see there. That is a quick service, quick grab restaurant that, again, has stayed open through the pandemic through March. Both Camden and Shapiro's will be going out to bid here probably in the next year or so. And Shapiro's will be a complete total gut renovation, transfer over to a new quick service restaurant probably. Chick-fil-A, we just extended the term through Chick-fil-A. You guys all know Chick-fil-A. It's a perfect fit for the airport. Great customer service, great food, great breakfast options, all those kind of things. That location will be renovated in 2025, so we have a few years until that happens. And then the same thing with the Fan Zone. The Fan Zone is the bar located at the end of Concourse B. That location, we extended the lease, but then it's also going to see a major rebrand. A restaurant bar called The Tap, which is a local brand, will be taking the place of the Fan Zone with the same operator. But we're really excited about The Tap coming in. But that's going to be a major project, probably well over $1 million gut rehab rebrand of that location as well. And then lastly is Nature's Table. That location is pre-security. It's a healthy option, quick grab location just between Qdoba and Chick-fil-A. That location will be going out to bid here in the coming years as well. So that's a lot of information, and in this virtual platform, it's difficult to to answer questions, of course, but I and our team, we are happy to connect you with all of these operators. We have multiple operators that are represented here. So I believe our contact information will be at the end of this, but if you do want to jot down my information, my email is dshaw@ind.com. Again, dshaw@ind.com. And we are happy to connect you with all of these operators. Some are local, some are not, but nonetheless, they are always looking to seek our guidance and our input when it comes to who to work with and who to contract with for these extremely important projects. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave. Next, I'd like to ask Jessica Howe to provide some insight into our sustainability environmental initiatives. Jessica?
Yeah, sustainability is a major component of everything that we do at IAA, and it's one of our strategic pillars which guide airport priorities and decision making. We use a framework for sustainability that is tailored to the aviation industry called EONS, which is an acronym represented by the Venn diagram you see on the right of the slide. It's economic viability, operational efficiency, natural resource conservation, and social responsibility. We apply this EONS framework to all sustainability planning, which we've integrated throughout the organization. Integrating sustainability into projects IAA has undertaken has led to a number of firsts and awards. Indianapolis International was the first terminal campus in the nation to be awarded Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design, also known as LEED. Indianapolis International is also home to one of the largest airport solar arrays and electric bus fleets in the U.S., which reduces emissions as well as reducing operational and maintenance costs. Additionally, all 6 IAA airports are accredited under the Airport Carbon Accreditation Program, a program which recognizes airports' efforts to manage and reduce CO2 emissions. The IAA also recently developed an award-winning sustainability toolkit to help our project managers integrate sustainability into design and construction. A framework for assessing sustainability and resilience in infrastructure called Envision is also used by IAA. We received Envision Bronze for a taxiway project at Eagle Creek Air Park in 2018 and are striving for more Envision certified projects. We recognize that our sustainability successes hinge on the cooperation and involvement of many different groups from design to construction, and appreciate our contractors' efforts to incorporate sustainability and environmental regulatory compliance to IAA projects they are involved in. Thank you.
Thanks, Jessica. Would like Bill Glant to give us an overview on what's happening on the procurement side of the organization. Bill?
Oh, there I go. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, sir. I appreciate everybody and the time you spent today. On the operational side, we have a small team, myself, O.C. Johnson, Christina, and Wyatt, but we are a mighty team. We do work with our operational groups, and we do have diversity goals, just like they do on the construction side. Holly and David and I work together on any projects that come up, and we use the planet bid format to get you in the system so that the bids are transparent and that you can participate with those. So next slide, please. This is the planet bid format. You do a vendor registration. If you've not done that, you can do it, or you can ask our team to help you at the procurement@ind.com. We will be glad to put you in the system and work with your team. Last week, we put in 3 new suppliers for this. So reach out to us and we will help engage you in that process. If you go to the next one, the business opportunities, that shows you everything that we should have out there to bid. So feel free to look at that. If you have questions, engage with us, and then we will be glad to engage with any operational units moving forward. So I appreciate your time today. And again, reach out to us, please. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Without further ado, I will introduce Kevin Forbes again. Kevin's going to talk about upcoming projects on the land side at the airports.
Thank you, Jared. Good morning, everybody. I wish we could be together like we normally were. It is a sincere pleasure to be with you. I just wish it were under a little different circumstances, but we persevere and we move on. And technology these days is certainly our friend. If you would back up, Tracy, just one slide for me, please. So what this slide is kind of representing is the fact that the 6 IAA facilities make up a huge amount of infrastructure. And so in order to maintain that infrastructure, in order to keep it moving forward, consistent with the IAA strategic plan, we employ and use virtually every design entity, architects, all disciplines of engineering, testing, interior design, inspection, environment and sustainability consultants, airport planning. So in terms of professional services, that we use a great deal of them. In a similar note, for construction, we use not virtually every construction activity, but we do use all construction. We use everything from heavy concrete and bituminous paving all the way down to fine millwork and casework, painting and decorating, and virtually everything in between. So the infrastructure that the IAA has really relies on a huge effort from all of the consultants and all of the construction companies that we utilize for our projects. Tracy? So a quick overview of for the land side, and I'm going to talk about a project in the parking garage. So Tracy, if you would kind of highlight the parking garage for everybody. There are going to be a series of structural concrete repairs that are going to be specific to the parking garage, and specifically some of the precast elements are starting to show some wear. So we have a project in 2021 that is going to require some structural concrete repairs. The professional services for this project has the professional services effort has already started, but we will be letting the construction portion of this in 2021. We have a fairly sizable project in the economy parking lot and the complex of roads within the airport campus. One of those, and as I'd mentioned, we're starting to see some wear that just simply is not acceptable to the IAA in the economy parking lot. So we're going to start in 2021, we're going to start a multi-year effort in terms of reconstructing the economy parking lot, and we still need professional services as well as the construction that would be let starting in 2021. We have a phase 2 of storm structures and storm sewer reconstruction occurring at Indy Regional Airport. That will be starting in 2021. And then Building 63, Tracy, if you kind of highlight that for everybody right there. That is an existing office facility that we are going to convert over to something that might be more leasable or more sellable. So it's going to involve the demolition of all interior partitions, all interior finishes, and leave it in a state that developers can look at it a little bit more favorably. We are looking to do about 200,000 square feet of repairs and replacements to the IMC roof in 2021. And then back to the parking garage, we are going to be doing some other miscellaneous maintenance and improvements. There'll be probably some additional structural concrete work, joint sealants, and potentially deck joint restorations within the parking garage pavement system. And then we've already started design work on a major renovation to Building 15, which is going to become the new home for the CBP. And we have started that work, but we will be the design work, the professional services part, but we will be letting construction for that project in 2021. That essentially is a full gut and then restoration of an existing building. And then finally, building 53 and 54 that used to be the old, the formal Eagle Hub, the formal United States Postal Office, for some for improvements for future leasing opportunities. We are going to be performing a series of structural and mechanical renovations to that facility starting in 2021. So with that, the land side, I think, is pretty well covered. And I'm going to turn it over to Tony McMichael to talk about the air side opportunities.
Thank you, Kevin. I'd like to take an opportunity to, first off, thank you all for joining us today. We do greatly appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy schedules to join us and learn more about our program. And as Jared mentioned earlier, we do want to encourage you, even in the environment we're in now, with things being more virtual, as a reminder that our doors are open, even if it's a virtual call or something like that. Contact us. We would love to discuss things further as our program continues to evolve, and make sure that you have the latest information. So definitely encourage you to keep that in mind, as long as we don't have something out on the street that is out there for you guys. We're also going to develop a project list that'll be further detailed from what we're discussing from an overview, that will be able to be provided to the attendees as well. So as I mentioned, our program is continuously evolving. I wanted to highlight the photo you see on the screen is out at Indianapolis Regional. And what I wanted to do is highlight a project that's going to be coming up from a professional services perspective here in the near future that's looking at some reconstruction on the ramps. Specifically, we're going to be looking at the East Apron as a full reconstruction. Multiple opportunities from a prime and sub consultant standpoint with survey, geotech, and a lot of the other things that we would need to ensure that that pavement is being designed as well. And before we leave the professional services slide, I'd also like to thank the airside team for all the efforts that they're putting in to help make sure that our component of the program is successful. Next slide, Tracy, please. And looking a little bit at the construction side of things as well, again, there's going to be several opportunities that we're hoping to be able to release, but I wanted to highlight a couple of them. The first one, again, out at Indianapolis Regional, we're looking at replacing the perimeter fence that will consist of around 35,000 linear feet of the 10-foot chain link with the rat wall. Bringing that facility up to current standards for security and wildlife. And then some other things that would be included within that are pedestrian and vehicle gates, clearing, grubbing, and erosion protection. So that's going to be an opportunity that we anticipate being released early spring of 21. And then a project that I think has been on everybody's radar from a contractor standpoint. We've already had an initial outreach event on this about a year or a little longer ago, but is starting to quickly approach. And that is our South Runway Complex. This is a multi-year project. We anticipate the first package being released this coming summer, so summer of 21. And some of the highlights of the overall project are on the screen here. I'm not going to read all those numbers, but we do anticipate it being 3 bid packages at this time, with the first bid package being released summer of 21. And the construction timeline occurring the year following. So bid in 21, construction starting 22, and then a 3-year program. So there will be more to come on this. So continue to watch Planet Bids. As Bill mentioned, we will be at least having one more specific outreach event to that project to help ensure that we are getting the contractor feedback and making that project the most successful it can be. With that, I'll turn it over.
Thank you, Tony. Before I start talking a little bit about our supplier diversity program, I did want to remind everyone that is online immediately after we finish this section, we will try to respond to and answer questions. So you can submit a question in the Q&A box. I already see a couple. So as soon as we finish this section, we will try to respond to as many of those questions as we possibly can in our remaining time. And then those that we can't respond to, we'll make sure and we'll try to get a response from the appropriate party. So first, I'd like to talk a little bit about our participation goals here at the IAA and what those mean to us. As you can see there on the chart, we have goals that we set for not only our disadvantaged businesses of 18%, but also our goals that we have for our minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses, and those total to an overall goal requirement on our projects of 28%. We do this in a couple of different ways. First and foremost, we establish our goals by project, and we adjust those based on the scope of each project and the relative availability of diverse businesses. Next, we also want to make sure that we have commitment on each of those projects, and we ensure that by, one, making sure we have proper solicitations that are sent out. Secondly, we review all of the bids, and if necessary, we conduct a GFE if it's appropriate. And then lastly, we also make sure that we monitor commitment through attainment. And in our world, that is our way of saying we make sure that folks keep their promise to work with and have diverse businesses on their projects. And then lastly, we make sure that we get to attainment. And we do that by utilizing our internal measures and our practices to foster and drive participation and utilization. Next slide. Next, we want to make sure that we provide access and participation and utilization through a couple of different ways. First, events like this, along with other outreach events, as well as all the information that we provide on Planet Bids, those are examples of the way that we make sure that we provide access to all of the diverse businesses throughout the greater Indianapolis area. And we ask you to monitor, maintain, and participate in those activities and utilize those services. And we also, as I mentioned earlier, we monitor the participation through projects. One of the ways that we do that is we make sure that all of the diverse businesses that work with us on our projects here at the IAA are certified through one of our agencies that we work with and accept certifications through. So that would be the state of Indiana, the Indiana Department of Transportation, the city of Indianapolis, and the Mid-States Supplier Development Council, which is also an affiliate of the National Minority Supplier Development Council. Also, we want to make sure that you guys are utilizing social media and other online events. We want to encourage you to become familiar with the projects, not only at other facilities, but especially the projects here at the IAA, and understand where your interests may lie and where you may be able to provide and be a resource on those projects here. And lastly, but most importantly, utilize the supplier diversity team here at the IAA. You can reach us through our website, which is supplierdiversity.ind.com, or you can also email questions to us at our supplierdiversity@ind.com email address. Next slide.
Thanks, David. So just want to spend a moment pulling all of these things together that you've heard today. You've heard folks talk about access and participation. That drives inclusion and utilization. So you can see from this slide the trend over the last several years in our diverse participation across the entire airport organization. I would also add that certainly by nature of the magnitude of construction and the dollars that are utilized through the capital program, the capital program significantly influences the overall participation and economic impact of the airport as a whole. And to that end, we've certainly timing of projects is important, but currently through the end of the third quarter of 2020, the capital is trending at around 40% participation in diverse partners. So we're really proud of that. We're grateful for for our primes and our subs that help make us the top airport in North America. So, Holly?
Thank you, Jared. So we're a little ahead of schedule, which is always awesome. We wanted to be very mindful of our virtual environment. Those who know me know some of the sayings. So even though we're virtual, I hope you feel that not only is the airport, but the city, you've heard from our concessions group, you've heard from Bankers Life. We're all live as it relates to opportunities in the city of Indianapolis. And I will date myself by age because everyone won't know the reference, but we're not Memorex. So we understand it's a virtual environment, but we really are committed. And, David and I talked a lot last night, and we were talking about goal, commitment, and attainment, and chuckled when we started thinking it's just like a promise. We want to ensure that when people make promises, they don't break those promises. And we reflected on one of the sayings from our Senior Director of Planning and Development, which holds true, I think, for all the organizations as it relates. He always says he's keeping score. So when you put things out there, it's not just something we put on a bookshelf and forget about. We are continually monitoring the activity. And I think both our executive director, our board president, and our board secretary with Mario, Barbara, and Mayman set expectations to drive our accountability. If you think of the things, I know Mario talked about a rounded figure. So he's still pushing that we can do more. Mayman said, when you look at the numbers, that's great, but we still got to do better. And one of the reasons we partner with the city, the state, NDOT, also organizations like the Pacers and Indigo and Mid-States, is we've got to figure out how to develop the next wave of businesses. And I think the concessions group is a great example. They were on a 2-year journey as we were trying to make sure that you've heard David talk about ACDBE. And for those that don't know, that's the diversity acronym, but it's Airport Concession Disadvantaged Business. And he gave a shout out to several of them, but McDonald's, Just Pop In, En Route Spa are all local ACDBE companies that are very committed to driving excellence at the airport. So we're oftentimes proud to speak to the recognition we get and as a #1 airport, but it takes a village. And when we partner with each of you, be it a non-diverse prime or diverse prime or subs, you're an extension of us. And it's imperative that you guys exude that same excellence. And even though, the project times have changed as related to projects, they're not as many. We want to make sure you know what those are. You're going to have to get creative in this virtual environment. Usually we would be headed to the catwalk to begin, I hate the term meet and greet, but we would be talking about how we could partner on some of the things we've heard. We will post this information. There's information out on Planet Bids. I always say we have a prospective bidders list, and it has everybody's address and contact information. We'll be posting the registrants from the event today. Make sure you use that information and realize you can't follow up on everything. So pick your top 3, 5 to 10 and make sure you can follow up so you can take advantage of those opportunities. So again, we are very grateful for our leadership that's here, for the entire P&D Planning Committee. This was a lot of work. You would think virtual would be easy, but there's just so much that could go wrong, and there's a lot of coordination. I'd like to thank our concessions team. I'd like to thank our procurement team, all of our panelists, the city of Indianapolis, the Indiana Pacers, Bankers Life expansion with Melody and Nate and Deb. Again, make sure you take advantage of those opportunities as well. In providing public value, we feel it's important not just to talk about the airport, but any opportunity, because in some cases we use similar suppliers. So while things may be going down from a project perspective here, they may be going up somewhere else, and we feel responsible and accountable to help drive those opportunities, because when things pick back up for us, we want to make sure these businesses are still out there and we can do work with them. So I'd also like to thank a lot of people who were behind the scenes and making sure that all of these things happen. So Drew has stepped away and has been able to leverage his team, but has been very much involved in the content and the direction. I think this has been kind of his vision for probably about 2 years of morphing our outreach, and he holds us accountable to make sure it's not, we don't get in the same kind of rut, but we're making sure we're bringing relevant information. So I wanted to say thank you. I want to say thanks to Todd. He was unable to be here today, but again, created an opportunity for someone in his team to step up and share the sustainability and environment perspective. Lisa Bierman always helps. Mary Jane Glaspie is always there for us. And then IT, I'd like to thank Matt Smith and Chester. And then my team, those that you can't see are Tracy, or you can't see Tracy, but you can't see Ronalda and Cindy. So just wanted to say thank you, because this, I think, has stressed a few of us out, and we are very happy to be at the close of the event. So with that, I will kick it to David, and we will see what we've got out there in the Q&A.
All right, so we do have, looks like about 6 questions right now. Okay, now folks starting to add them in. All right, so first question, and this one would probably go to either Nate or Melanie. How do we get bid information for the Bankers Life project? And then also, could we share their contact information again?
Yeah, so I can address that. This is Nate Moore. Contact information, you can reach out to Melody mpark@pacers.com, myself, N. Moore at shieldsexton.com, or Debbie Oates at DOates@nubianconstructiongroup.com. Specifically, project information will be published with reprographics. So start looking for packages to be put out in December. So mid-December on, if you're looking for information, we will get that uploaded to reprographics to their e-plan room. If you send us an email, we'll get you on a distribution list for interest, so you'll get those specific dates in a newsletter format that we'll send out as the project comes closer. Any other questions on Bankers Life?
Thanks, Nate.
Next question is, will there be a separate electrical bids or a mix, meaning we would send quotes to a prime and or electrical bid? And they did not state if they were referring to an IAA project or any of the others.
I can
answer. One, I see, we are certified by the SBA Hub Zones program. Do we fall under the airport's DBE programs? The SBA, is a different entity. To be in the airport's DBE program, you are probably eligible, but need to partner with NDOT. They do the actual certification for the DBE, and DBEs are typically minority and women-owned businesses that are small. So we can follow up with you. I think we get everybody's email and do a virtual introduction to the NDOT team who can walk you through that certification process. Tony?
So back to the electrical question real quick. At least from an airside perspective, oftentimes electrical that we're doing is going to be a part of an overall project. So electrical oftentimes for LED lighting or any of those other components will oftentimes be part of that overall package with pavement or whatever else we're doing. There was another question on the professional service slide where I mentioned that we'd be putting a project list together. Yeah, it's not in the slide deck. That is something that Kevin and I are going to provide that will be listed out whenever the registrant information and stuff is posted. So that's how that will happen.
And I can see a question that says, do you have to be from Indiana to bid on any of the opportunities? I can speak on behalf of the airport. No, you do not. If you are a diverse business, we would advise you to be abreast of the certifications that we accept. So again, it's the City of Indianapolis, the State of Indiana, NDOT, and mid-states. And so if you are certified with any of those as a diverse vendor, we would accept your certification. But you can bid on opportunities if you are not from Indiana. Do you have any? I can answer. I see a question from William Beach. We'll follow up with you on your question about the fuels project. There is a question about the PowerPoint. This information will be posted out to our website, as well as the project list that Tony referenced. We will also be sending, or you may have already received, a survey via Eventbrite. I think it comes through SurveyMonkey. We would ask for each of you to provide your feedback, and our plan is to post the list of the registrants so we can see. We've got 132 people still currently, so thanks so much for staying on for the Q&A. And at the height, I saw we had 139 people. So again, we want to thank everyone for participating. I see a note that says, as a potential prime, is there a list of registered XBEs by specialty or trade that can be accessed for teaming? There are a few things that you can do. You can reach out to the supplier diversity team and we can talk. We typically refer you back to the certified list of the city, the state, NDOT, and mid-states, but we can share what companies are in our Planet Bid system. So if individuals have registered in Planet Bids by a NICS code and trade, we can provide that information. So that reflects individuals who have either expressed an interest or bid on our projects. And as part of the registration, it is self-identification that they can tell us what their certification is, and then we would have to verify it. I'm not sure if Mayman can see. There was a question specifically directed to Power and Sons about electrical opportunities with your company. And if we can't get him back, we can connect him to the individual that asked the question. Is Ava still there? Ava, there's a question that states, the City of Indianapolis website states the business needs to be headquartered in Indy to qualify. Can you elaborate?
Sure. It does not have to be in Indianapolis. It has to be domiciled in the state of Indiana. So any place with any city location within the state, if you're certified, you can participate on projects. We partnered, or we have a memorandum with the state of Indiana, because we cannot certify outside of the contiguous counties surrounding Marion. So we work closely with them to get folks through the certification process. So no, it is not Indianapolis, but it must be domiciled, headquartered in the state of Indiana.
Okay, thank you, Ava.
And Mayman Powers is here. So yeah, any questions for Powers and Sons, they can contact our office at 317-269-2550 or view our website for bidding opportunities.
Thank you, Mayman. And I would just add that it's a huge benefit to have an MBE on the board who understands the process, the challenges, to help drive accountability. So we really appreciate you being on and staying on for the whole outreach session today.
Thanks.
Let me read it. It asks, can we further discuss the magnitude of the impact to the capital budget?
So in rough orders of magnitude, I would say there was probably about $150 million trim in reducing the 5-year capital program. Now, there's a second question that relates to that and asks if the apparent shift to focus on rehabilitation as opposed to new construction is a new direction. I don't know that I would call it a new direction so much as a prudent outcome of evaluating the capital plan and the forecast revenue streams until we get to a more significant recovery. I think most folks realize that our revenues are directly related to the number of passengers that flow through the terminal. Certainly that results in an increased number of flights, which drives revenue, and in all the corresponding concessions, parking, all of those things are tied to revenue streams that are heavily weighted toward the number of people that come through the terminal. So what we've done by recrafting the budget and focusing on projects for which we can get grant dollars basically means that we are doing a shift currently to focus on rehabilitation, and that's consistent with the guidelines and the ranking and priority analysis of projects when we compete for grant dollars with the FAA. So as opposed to a new direction, I would call it more of a prudent shift so that we can maintain a robust budget, continue to put a significant amount of projects out in the community, and still minimize the cash requirements from the airport to do those projects.
All righty, I think that is it. Again, I would thank everyone for participating today. Again, this information will be post it to our website. We've provided a lot of contact information, not just for IAA, but for our other partners. And we have capability to help create connections and do the best that we can so we can continue to network and foster partnership in this virtual environment. I hope everyone has a great day.